We are. Hello and welcome to the winter session of CIT 225 at BYU, Idaho. I am Brother Stevick. I will be your guide in this adventure through the world of databases, one that I've lived in for about over 20 years now. I got my start in Microsoft SQL Server back in the olden days of 2000. And in the last 22 years now, I guess, I've learned Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle Server, MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, all the fun RMVBS systems. So I try to keep myself pretty technologically agnostic when it comes to database systems. Tonight, so the way I normally do these videos is I just start talking at 9:30. It's a little early now. And if someone pops in, I greet them, see what they're doing, see if they have questions, and then I just continue going on with my lecture. That's not really a lecture; it's more of a one-sided discussion. I try to answer whatever questions you give me. If someone asks me a question in an email, I'll usually bring it up here, just because if one person asks the question, everyone has the question. What I'm going to do today is just kind of go over how the course works, what you need to know, a couple high-level things. And I think what I might do today is go through your icebreakers on the video chat here, so I can say hi to everybody, because it's probably a lot faster than me trying to like type hi to everyone and kind of make comments. So this video will probably run a little on the long side, but that's okay. So let me kind of talk to you about how the class is set up. So obviously it's an online course, so it is a work at your own pace. There are due dates for all the stuff, like week 1 stuff is due by Saturday night. Week 2 stuff is due by next Saturday night. This doesn't mean you can't work ahead and zip through. I've actually had students finish everything within the first 4 weeks. But that doesn't mean you have to. Take your time, pace yourself, everything is fine. It's more important that you learn the stuff than it is then you finish the stuff. To that effect, I'll talk about this a lot. We're going to have quite a few times. I'm going to talk about late work. I do accept late work. Up until week 12, I will accept late work and no penalty to you. After week 12, I don't accept it at all. That's because I've got to spend time grading, and after week 12, I got a lot of the stuff I got to grade, and I can't really spend my time going back to week 1 to grade. I do ask that if you have to be late with work, to let me know what's going on. Kind of send me an email, a text, whatever, saying, hey, this is going on. I'm not gonna be able to turn my work in this week, I'm a little behind. And I'm very rarely am I inflexible about it. I've learned, especially in the last 2 years, that between COVID and having kids and losing family members, you know, we all have something that we're going through. Life gets in the way a lot of times. So I don't try not to be too much of a stickler when it comes to that. So as long as you communicate with me what's going on, we'll be on the same page and you can turn work in late. I'm sure, well, okay. So let's talk about the general layout of the course. Every week you'll have several assignments to turn in. You'll have an initial quiz, you'll have you have exercises, you'll have a quiz, and you'll have a paper. The quiz is basically on the reading that was done. The exercise is using code exercises about what was in that week's reading, and the paper is a explanation of what you just learned that week. For example, if this were the week you learned about select queries, so the chapters you read and the websites you looked at would be about how to write a select query. The quiz would be different types of criteria that goes to writing a select query. The exercises would be 5 questions asking you to write different select queries. And the paper would be, hey, explain to me what a select query is. So you kind of get how it's all building on everything else. You know, everything builds on everything else. So like here in week 1, we've got, let's see, week 1 here, we've got week 1 preparation reading, we've got week 1 exercises, week 1 paper, week 1 quiz, week 1 syllabus quiz. Then we have 2 quizzes this week because of the syllabus quiz. Week 2 is prep and reading, exercises, quiz, reverse engineering website. We'll talk about that. I'll give you a brief explanation of that this week because it always trips people up. And I'm explaining to you why we do it the way we do. Week 3, reading prep, exercises, paper, quiz, so on and so forth. So you kind of get the gist of that there. Okay. So let's take a quick look at the reading and prep for this week, which is that here it is. So here, our learning goal is to learn what a SQL database is and what it can do, learn relational models, structured query language, things along these lines. And these are your reading assignments. And I talked about this in the announcements, and I'll talk about this again. Be very, very specific. These chapters are SQL textbooks are not written to be enjoyable reading. They're written to basically give you give you a drink from a fire hose with all the information's in it. I don't necessarily recommend like sitting down and trying to read the chapters because they're not really page turners. They're more along the lines of skimming for understanding, looking at the keywords, the bold titles, but it's more, the textbook is more for references, like looking up like what a select query does, going there and finding the syntax behind it. What's going to be more helpful to you in these lessons are these websites. What is MySQL? How to install MySQL? How to use MySQL command line? Getting started with MySQL, install MySQL, how to download MySQL. Every week, we'll have several websites for you to look at for additional information. Look at those. Make sure you go over those. Make sure you understand that there are questions from on the quizzes that are specifically from those websites. Okay. One of the students we have this semester has asked, for those who don't know, Windows, Chrome, and actually every browser has the ability to read what's on the page to you. You can absolutely listen to this. You can have it read to you. Adobe does the same thing. However you get the information gets to you, let it get to you. But the websites are critical to everything. You have to read, listen to, take these in. Okay. And then you've got this is your syllabus quiz to make sure you have the syllabus. Did you read it? You need to pass this one. If you didn't pass this one, you didn't do the reading. So like, just make sure you get that done. Okay. Let's see. So that's done there. So let's look at the quiz. Okay. So the exercises. So here, this is more along the lines of asking you questions if you did the stuff you were supposed to do. Next week will be actual queries. We'll say, please write this query, please write this query, and I'll go over them then. Did you install MySQL database? Did you create the user account? Did you grant the necessary privileges to root? So on and so forth, okay? So there's that. And let's look over the quiz. Here's the quiz. Let me preview the quiz. Here you go. A database is nothing more than a set of related information. That's not necessarily true. It's a lot more than that. Select statements, retrieve data. I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's 10 questions on here. 10 random questions. Answer them. You get 2 attempts at this quiz. 2. Dos. No. Un, deux. Deux. Ein, zwei. Get zwei. 2 attempts on the quizzes. If you do poorly, take it again. The best score counts. Okay. That is true for every quiz in this course, including the final exam. The final exam, looking ahead 13 weeks, is a compilation of all the questions you took on your quizzes. Okay. All the quizzes are open book. All the quizzes are open notes. All the quizzes are open browser. All the quizzes are open whatever. Okay. So keep that in mind. And when I say all the quizzes, I mean up to and including the final exam. 2 attempts, open book. These should not be that difficult. Okay. Let's take a look at the week 1 paper. Read the case studies below, write a 3 to 5 paragraph report according to the case study, submit your report. So the case studies are always worded this way. You have joined a new company, and while you thought you were buried, your manager believes you have a lot to learn. He has structured a 12-week training program that should enable you to learn how to use MySQL databases to solve the computer software engineering problems. In your first week at the new company, your manager wants you to understand the difference between non-related non-relational and relational databases, how a relational database evolved from networked and hierarchical databases. Your manager also wants you to install MySQL database on your desktop, create a database for the assigned learning from the assigned learning SQL textbook, and populate the model. You should return a 3 to 5 paragraph report clearly explains why using the MySQL command line shell represents advantages that translate to productivity and the differences between IDE and CLI. This paper should qualify what you learn by experimenting with the technology. Okay, so let me get on my soapbox here for a second. The command line shell, or the CLI, command line interface, is a very granular way of doing things. You can do things in there, if you know how, that allow you to have a very, very close control over how the queries run. Okay, and how the background of SQL works. It gets you into the guts of things. Okay, the IDE, or the GUI environment, you can do pretty much the same thing in there without a lot of the bells and whistles. Personally, for me, the IDE is a more productive environment because it lets you save and retain code and modify it and copy it with greater ease. Because the most important thing about being a DBA and writing code is repeatability of that code and persistence of that code. So if you have it saved off somewhere in a file that you can open and use, and you're going to see me doing that the course of this semester, I've got a bunch of code saved that I use for demos. It makes you very, very productive. I'm not saying the command line interface isn't great. It's fun. It makes you look super cool, and it makes your job look really, really hard if you don't want to think what other people think you're super busy. But the IDE, to me, and this is obviously not necessarily, it's like, you know, any argument between like two things, you know, do you like, you know, vanilla or chocolate, or it's just ice cream, man. It's all the same thing. We all do things our own different ways, but whatever works best for us. If the CLI works for you and you do great in it, more power to you, man. You do your thing and use that CLI and get your job done. If you prefer the IDE, then do that too. They're both different ideologies. They're both as valid as the other. It's just whatever you're comfortable with, you know? So the 3 to 5 paragraph, you know, 3 to 5, you know, sticking around 3, that's probably good. Just make sure you get your point across. Make sure you explain what you say, what you want to say. Particularly when they're talking about later on, they're asked for very specific answers. You know, in this one here, you want to talk about the difference using the IDE and the CLI, what they are, the differences between them, what you think is better. It's an opinion paper. There's no right or wrong answers. You just need to express your thoughts in a complete and clear way. Please don't give me a link for a Google document because they never work. Just copy and paste it into the box and I'll be able to grade it, okay? Hopefully that makes sense and we're good to move on. So let me jump back here for a second and talk about where did it go? No, did I not? Oh, there's. So this reverse engineering website. Okay, so here's what this is about. This is next week's assignment. So this is not this week's assignment. I'm jumping to week 2 because there's always a lot of questions about this one. I'll bring it up again next week. They want you to create a video that looks at a website that you've picked, and it wants you to reverse engineer the website to explain how the back end connects to it. Meaning, like, I can go to coolstuffgames.com. Right? And a second, I have a problem with my DNS server. Okay, and I can go here to Cool Stuff Games Inc. And I want to go buy some Magic the Gathering cards. Oh, that's already there. Wow, that's crazy. By the way, if any of you play Magic the Gathering, I have played for I played since '95, so I've been playing for a really long time. If you're on Arena, let me know. We'll share player codes, and I will. I'm very happy to play a hand with you from time to time. I want to buy some Innistrad Crimson Vow cards, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to show this website, and I'm going to say, this is a website that's on Magic Gathering cards on. I'm looking specifically on common cards, and I'm going to explain how the backend database works. Okay, I'll have the tables I would have. This is just a rough idea because I know you guys don't have a super strong idea on how the backends work. This is just kind of an idea to understand where you're at. Now this assignment has two things that are very, very important. Number one, it gives me an idea of your understanding on how databases work. Okay, that's incredibly important. It gives you a good footing, so you know it's kind of benchmark. Here's where we're starting, and at the end of the year, at the semester, hopefully you'll know more. But this is, if you look at the requirements, let me find it here. Here, a 5 to 10 minute video presentation. Okay, put it up on YouTube, wherever you want to do it. Just put it there. Why are we doing this? Okay, everyone who takes online classes knows about something called Proctorio. Proctorio is a necessary evil to make sure that you are the person taking your tests and whatnot. Proctorio always gets in the way of our exams. This assignment negates the need for Proctorio because it gives me an assignment that I look and say, oh, this is this person. This is the person doing the stuff, rather than having to do a quiz on week 6, okay? So please make sure that you present a video. If you don't have the ability to record a video on your computer, odds are you have a phone that you can do it on. You can download Canvas onto your phone. You can do everything there, upload the videos there, whatever it takes. If you can't get a video done, please let me know. And what we can do is we can make a time where you can do a video with me like this on a Wednesday night or another night, and you can do your thing, and I can watch it in live. This course does ask you to have a camera because it is a remote course. And if you have Zoom, you can record things. Okay, it's a very important assignment, and it negates the need for Proctorio. So just kind of get that going. It's not difficult. It's just looking at a website, like I said, like this one here, and explaining the back end behind. Like there's a cards table, there's a set table, and everything else, and how it's going to work. You can draw little diagrams, however you want to do it, but that's what the week 2 assignment is. Okay. Okay, I think that's the reverse engineering assignments. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is the final option. Okay, so I know we're in week 1. I know week 14 is a long, long way away. But you have 2 choices in your final thing. You can do a final exam, which I said it's a 50+ question quiz. They get 2 attempts to do that's open book. You can totally knock that out of the water to do that. Or you can do this final project. The final project was put in a couple of years ago because a lot of students wanted to get more into the design aspect and how to actually design a database and how to make it work in the back end. That's what this is. You will, in this final exam, in this final project, you will build and create a database using an ERD. You will generate the code for that database. You will write all the code to populate the database. You will come up with test cases to use the database, and you will mock up a website. Like you can use crayons and construction paper. We're not talking about like actually having to code the thing. I just need to get a general idea of what you're doing. And then you're going to submit all that to me with either a PowerPoint presentation or a video, and that'll be great. It's either or. You can either do the final exam or you can do the final project. If you choose to do the final project, this is why I tell you now. If you choose to do the final project, your papers for the weeks, instead of answering those questions, becomes more of a journal on how you're doing on your project. They still have to be 3 to 5 paragraphs, probably erring on the side of 3, but they will be about how you're doing on your project, what you did this week. this week I narrowed down the topic I wanted to do. I wanted to, I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to do a database for a collectible card store, and kind of here's what I'm looking at table wise, and then every week a little bit more and a little bit more. If you want to do a video journal or written journal, whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, that's fine. But that's what your papers become starting on week 3. If you want to start on this, starting right now, trying to do your final project right now, it's gonna be a little overwhelming because you don't have the full details for it. I will, in the week 3 video, go over in great detail what the final exam is, final project is, so you know. Okay, so that covers all that stuff. I'm good with everything else. I think that covers everything for you guys. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the icebreakers in the comments section. So it looks like everyone did it, and kind of meet everybody. And because honestly, when I try to do this in typing, I get about halfway through. It's a little overwhelming for me to greet like 40 some odd students in this. And I'm gonna try this. I've never done this way before. We'll see how it works. Let me know if it works out well. But I think I've covered everything I want to cover with that. I talked about, one last thing here about this in the discussions. No one's done anything in the discussions yet, I don't think. Come here, discussions. Let me organize these the way I want them organized. Me over here. Let's see. Nope. Nope. I forgot how to organize these things. Discussions. Nope. Please for comments, share comments, delete. There's a what happened to this paragraph? I have to figure out. Okay. Well, maybe they changed it. Oh, maybe the ones that have pinned discussions. Okay. So down here on week 1, discussion, help each other in devotional. There is a devotional. Well, it's not a requirement anymore because we're not grading you on it, but we do want to have devotionals here, scriptural thoughts. We got a conference coming up in a couple months. This is a very community type class. We want you to teach each other. We do have, if you look over here in the people, I do have everyone in groups. Okay. You know what group you're in. You can like here, there's Larry, Jessica, and Madison in this one group. The groups are there for you to talk to. We don't do group work anymore, but so if you're struggling on something here, if you're struggling on a topic, there's a couple of things that you can do. Let's say we're in week 4 and you're having really trouble understanding what an inner join is, and you're racking your brain, you can't figure it out. The book isn't making sense, the websites aren't making sense. Well, then you can turn to your group. Like if I was Larry, I'd go, Jessica, Madison, you get this stuff. If that doesn't work, you can reach out to your TA who will introduce themselves this week sometime, so you know who they are. I don't remember who it is. I got an email yesterday, but it slips my mind at the moment. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to other people you know. It's important. It's really important to one person has been assigned here. It's really important to have this community process to help teach each other, help understand each other, explain things to each other. That's what the discussion boards end up being for. When you have a question, put it here. I look at these on a daily basis. The TA looks at them on a daily basis. Make sure that things get here. Make sure you're putting devotional stuff. Just kind of let's build a really good community, because I'll tell you something about when you're in this field, when you're a database administrator, or you're in database or doing anything, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that we do is from other people. We look to other people. If you're looking to write code, someone has written that code already. You can go out there and find it and modify it. So we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we have to have a community mentality, because if I'm struggling on something and I reach out for help and I get it, that's great. And that's great for me. But now I've got to be ready to help someone else when the time comes for me to help them. Also keep in mind, you think it odd maybe, but the IT community is not that big. The Oracle DBA community is not that big. The cybersecurity is not that big. And the people you meet in these classes, whether it be virtually or in person, may end up helping you at some point in time get a job or find an answer. So you want to make sure that you stay friendly and keep open. And it's like, hey, I remember me from the CITTG class in winter of 22. Hey, I see that you work for ABC company. I'm trying to get a job there. Do you think you put in a good word for me? So again, keep that in mind. Okay. All right. So I think that finishes that out. So let me go through here. All right. Let's see. Hi, Eddie. You live in Miami. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Like to learn security engineering. Security engineering is a great field to get into right now. A lot of people, with all the hacking that's going on, it is absolutely a great field to jump into. Brother's the biggest collection of board games. That's awesome. Got into Catan. I love Catan. Settlers of Catan and Starships of Catan, all of them. I love those games. I don't have Ticket to Ride. I've always wanted to learn to play it. And I really need to do it. But they're great. And the interaction with players, it's about trading and resource management. It's my favorite thing. Okay. Michael Gibson, consults in Utah, lived for a couple of years, daughter in California, 3 years. I remember something in California. Yeah. Yeah, I saw this so crazy. I live in Orlando, and it was like, Christmas Day was like 85 degrees. It's a bit warm here. Databases, I use Sid and work confident. You haven't used a CLI, which interfaces. Yeah. Okay. Let me bring this up. This is a good point, Michael. Here, you don't have to use the CLI for this class. I use this. This is the SQL Workbench. This is what I use. I don't use the CLI. You don't have to use the CLI. Use what you're comfortable with. Okay. Don't get into this. I have to use the CLI. Okay. So just make sure you understand that. Use what you're comfortable with. This is totally fine. Okay. You can totally use this, and everything will be great. I typed Sekilla wrong. Here's look, it's a little tricky. There you go. Little sneaky peek that you can do this. You can drag and drop the stuff over here. You can just go here, and if you want to use the actor table, you can just drop it over there. Anyway. Yeah. So don't think you have to use the CLI. You don't. Okay. Okay. Isaac. Good heart. Dude, I am all over pop culture, music, and art. I am a child of pop culture, particularly about Marvel heroes, DC heroes. I've been reading comic books since I was 8 years old. So that's a long time. I love pop culture. Let's chat about stuff. Like, let's do some pop culture trivia in the discussion boards. That'll be super fun. Technology. Designing database service in Baltimore. Awesome. Awesome, cool. Designing databases is a lot of fun. I will provide a lot of videos and a lot of talking about that. Designing databases is fun for me. To me, it's kind of artistic because you've got to map the flow of the data. That's the thing. You got to watch how the data flows. It's very matrixy if you think about it. But yeah, I'll talk a lot about that. You might want to consider doing the final exam, the final project, because that's designing a database. And it's challenging. It'll put yourself out there, but man, I would totally do it. Okay, Larry. There's Larry. There's Alaska. I love Alaska. I was there once. It was so much fun. Second term BYUI. Inventory control manufacturing plant. So you work databases. Retrieval. All right, yeah. Yeah, you're a hard worker, man, Larry. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. This is databases, a lot of interesting, and it'll be kind of fun for you because if you do data entry, you'll kind of get an insight to how the back end works. When you look at your front end screen, you're gonna kind of like in your mind, you're gonna start churning about how this works out and how the database and how this gets entered into, what queries have been written. So I think you're gonna enjoy it. Let's see, Christian. Play video games. YouTube. Play sports. My friends. Siblings. Dad. All right. Cool. Oh, okay. Oh, what systems do you like? You can't answer here, but if you respond to this in email or something, what SAP systems do you use? You run do you use data lakes? Do you use Azure? Do you use MongoDB or Hadoop or something like that? You know, what are your SAP systems? And Argentina, never been there. It's on my list of places to visit. Yeah, video games. I don't really do console games because I know that they're very addicting to me, and I played back in the day. I had Final Fantasy 7 on my PlayStation 2, and I played it for like 400 plus hours, and they have a little clock in the corner to tell you how long you played. I'm more of like a Minecraft guy at the moment. I learned how to play that. I'm enjoying that a lot. Magic the Gathering, I play that a lot. And this tablet game or phone game called Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. By the way, if anyone has been watching Book of Boba Fett on Disney Channel, it is amazing. If you haven't, I suggest you watch it. Hello, Kevin. You're from Spokane, Washington. Live down in Springfield, Missouri. That is not only a cultural change, but quite an environmental change. Last week in Missouri, my junior year, except one for two science and the really sports. Yep, I am here for you, man. I will teach you what you need to know. Again, from what you're saying here, I maybe strongly suggest that you look and do the final project as opposed to the exam. Caleb, hey Caleb from Spokane. Someone else from Spokane. Never been to Spokane. I love Seattle. My wife and I used to go there every year for a Microsoft SQL Server conference that no longer exists. But favorite place to go in Seattle is what's the name of that place? It's like a little German village off to the north of Seattle. Oh, I can't remember. I have to remember it. Riverside, California, a few months ago. Oh, cool. Part-time as a carpet cleaner. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Welcome. Enjoy it. We're going to talk a lot about MySQL. The great. So just so you know, we're doing MySQL in the class, but we're using a language called TSQL Transaction SQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and it's transactional structured query language because everything happens in transactions, which we're going to talk about later in the semester, what a transaction means and what it does. But once you learn TSQL for MySQL, you understand it. It's like all RMDBS systems use RMDB, Relational Management Database System, RMDBS. Use TSQL. They just all use different dialects of it. So everything's 90% the same, and like one command is different. You'll hear me talking we'll talk about when we do the joins. There's a certain type of join that's not available in MySQL. It's available everywhere else. I don't complain about it. That it's not here. Oops, hang on a second. Okay, I think my headphones are charged up. I'm going to plug them back in. All right, excellent. Tyson, just full-time student, live in Rexburg, most of the campus online courses, my 5th semester on campus. Peru, Trio, cousin loves database. What Professor Georgia University? You told me I enjoyed this course. I'd be curious to see I would ask your cousin, like, what he loves about database. I just love watching data flow. It's kind of like, for me, it's like, I love a good fountain. I love a good, like, waterfall, I like seeing water move. It's just something like the ocean. Data's like that. Data's like water moving. How the rivers flow to the sea and stuff like that, and how the data goes. How does data go from like these 3 tables out to the user screen and make sense to them? Because the data, when it's in the table, makes no sense whatsoever. So, okay. And Jeremy, how you doing, Jeremy? Nice bearded dragon, sir. Queries. Creation commands are so easy. Let me tell you something. By the time you're done with the first part of the semester, you're going to do creation queries are child's play, particularly when you learn how to reverse engineer them out of SQL Benchmark, out of here. There's a way to just draw a database in here and then reverse engineer and have the code written for you. It's handy. You'll learn it. You'll love it. It'll be good for you. Video games, into that. Reading. One of my favorite, I've got several favorite authors who I follow. Mercedes Lackey is one of them. If she writes something, I will read it. I just recently got into Brandon Sanderson. I read his Elantris a long time ago, but I started reading Mistborn now. Finally got into it. Terry Goodkind is a great author that I follow. He died recently though, so no more books from him. And then my two favorite are David Eddings and oh, I see the names here at the Bulgarian and the Malloy. David Eddings, and who wrote? So David Eddings wrote that, and then who wrote the magician? Raymond D. Feist. David Eddings, Raymond D. Feist, Terry Goodkind, Mercedes Lackey, David Eddings, and Terry Goodkind are dead, so I don't do any more books. Piers Anthony is fun. I kind of got bored with him after a while because he wrote all these pun books, the Chronicles of Xanth. But anyway, whenever my video games, yeah. So let's see, Jessica. And so I'm from Rex Brad. I'm currently in Provo, Utah, with my husband while he goes to school at BYU. I used to love the Olympic Exchange program. I had such majors, worked towards applied technology. It is fun to write queries. I love to write queries. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it. When we get to like week 5 or 6, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. Elementary education to applied technologies. That's stuff. It's here's the thing. You can kind of play both ends of that because there's a lot of people looking for developers for databases and backends and applications in education. So you can use your education information. Like if you were to do the final project, you could do you could try to make a class management software to track assignments, track students, things like that. But yeah, okay. Morgan, Idaho, years now. Campus, graduated, place to live. Years. I love North Carolina. North Carolina is like my second favorite place. Rocky Mountains are great. If I could relocate, I would totally move to North Carolina in the RTP in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They're beautiful. Okay, yeah, it'll be a smooth transition into CIT into 225. I think you asked me the question, and if everyone's here, if you've taken CIT 111 and you already have MySQL installed, you don't need to do it again. Just create the Sequila database. Madison, 20 years old from me in Ohio. A lot of people from Ohio in this class. So I know, except potatoes, we have corn. Okay, fair enough. The program when I was younger. This is what we're trying to do. Majors. It's kind of cool to be able to go through majors and try to find exactly where you want to live. College is good for that. You don't get to do that when you get older. You don't get to figure it out. Dad was a developer. Hey, that's cool. Yep. Okay. Dana McKean, Alabama. Yeah, pandemic. Man, it's been rough. Working from home is not as much fun as I thought it would be. From originally, then he saw a permanent position. I've been homeschooling the kid. BYU online, it's been a fun semester. Congratulations, get that done. My internship this semester was good. I'm watching way too much entertainment through various streamers. Listen to K-pop. K-pop's interesting for me. My daughter, who's going to BYU herself, she taught me about K-pop, and her was BTS. Yeah, BTS, and they were okay. It's fun. There's actually a ice cream place near me here in Orlando that does rolled ice cream, and they always have K-pop playing in the background. About running in the past, music major, trombonist. Wow, trombonist, ukulele. That's fun. More databases have barely scratched the surface. Yeah, there's, especially if you're looking at managing database, there's just a lot of stuff there. We unfortunately don't get a lot into managing database. So we'll talk a little about index fragmentation. I have a couple of videos where I talk about, so I've got a number of videos in this course that I've been using for years that really go beyond what this course talks about, like how to design databases, how to design for how databases are data on the disk, and it's really these deep dives into various topics. But yeah, if you're into managing databases, you want to keep those a watch. The interesting thing, you have no idea what to expect. The interesting thing about this class is there's a couple ways you can take this class. You can just do the work, keep your head down, get it done, get a grade, and walk away. Or you can, when you participate, you ask questions. Especially if you go down the rabbit hole. We go down the path of doing the final project. You can learn a whole lot in this class about different things, and I'm here to guide you on the way. Any question you have, I'll answer. Whatever it is, I will answer to my best ability. And if you do the final project, you can do some really, really amazing stuff with that. You do sound like you're very busy, so good luck to you, and congratulations on being your last semester. Okay, Joseph, let's see, from Oroville, California. Okay. Break. Yep. Cool. Yep. Glad to see you got started early. Software engineering. Yeah, if you're gonna do software engineering, knowing how the database backend works is a really good idea. Let's see, Josh, Spanish Fork, Utah, lives in Southern California, major technology, working as a Q engineer by 90. Okay, fun. Cert and web front cert. Nice having the certs. This class went towards my backend cert. Yep. Oh, so I'm gonna drop in second week. Were you in my class? Or whose class were you in? The course was a mess and I didn't have time to deal with it. Oh, you must have I wonder if you okay, you were there when we were doing the okay. So you took it when we were still using Oracle. That was a mess because we had to download a virtual machine, and it was like people weren't starting to work until week 3. I totally get it. Yeah, that's I totally get it. Yeah, the course has been redesigned. It's very, very different now. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I think you're gonna enjoy it quite a bit. Yep, improve your queries backend. Again, I suggest doing that final project. Okay, Patagonia. That's a fun place. I just like the name Patagonia. I have 4 kids. Good. Australian Shepherd, Golden Retriever. Oh yes, dogs. I have 2 Cocker Spaniels myself. Gym, pickleball. What is one wheeling? If you think about it, at some point in time, let me know what one wheeling is. I'd say that's like unicycling. Okay. Aaron. So yeah, so this is I get about career change. My first career, Aaron, was I was a drama teacher for 6 or 7 years, and then I went into being a corporate trainer for Microsoft projects, and then I went to being a DBA. So it's good to be flexible in your career. Corporate trainers, I miss teaching. I would do back in a second. What did you train? Did you train like corporate policies, software and stuff like that? It's a great being a corporate trainer is a great tool to have in your belt when you're a DBA, because half the time you're trying to explain to people how things work. All right. Good luck to you. Hey, Dexter. Suntan Valley. They really just called Santa. I thought it said Suntan Valley, Arizona. I'm like, I know there's a lot of sun in Arizona, but calling it Suntan Valley, that's so you went from Arizona to Rexburg. How was that? That was pretty much a huge environmental change. You're going from like Arizona where it's like 100 degrees every day to Rexburg where it's like negative 100 every day. Life class. So do not. Okay, let's expand that knowledge there, Dex. We can teach you. Courtney, hey Courtney, rock climbing, hike, paddleboard. It was on the warm outside. You live in Idaho. How warm does it get outside? My best be a lake and hit the jackpot. I got him. Class. Well, I hope you enjoy this class as much. We're gonna delve into it more. I'm assuming you took CIT 111. Yeah, this course goes a little in parallel to it, but with the design elements in the final project, it takes a little interesting turn. All right. Oh, I don't know how to say that. It's a cool name. Kistsu. I'm sorry, Mr. Brand. Oh, Key. Okay, I can do that. That is much easier. Thank you for that. Oh, you're from Japan. Okay, that's fine. Graduation. Where's that? My parents. My family is my parents. My grandparents are in Kobe, Japan. And a cute little, not really, Siberian. Yeah, Siberian Huskies aren't little, but they're great dogs. Speaking of which, here comes my dog. I'm gonna throw something at her because my dog tries to eat the cat food. and I have to chase her away, but she doesn't listen. Okay. Sorry, Key. Let's see. You know, it's interesting if you like graphics design better, you know, understanding how a backend works makes it easier to design front end. I keep saying people like, you know, I'm a coder, I can do things. I don't do pretty. I'm not good at pretty. I'm great at functional. But if you're good at pretty and make things look good, it'll be there's a place for people like you because you understand the databases and the back end, but you can make the front end. So front end designers, sometimes front end designers have a harder job with it because they need to make it attractive so people want to use it. Okay, let's see. Sean from South Korea. Oh, we got Japan and South Korea. That's awesome. We know you're not from North Korea, dude. There's data science. Data science. That's an interesting new field that's coming up, data science. A lot of people want to be data scientists. It's a whole new thing. It's really very cool. Born in the Philippines. Wow, this is really kind of cool. I love the diversity we have in these classes. People from everywhere. Johnson, born in the Philippines. Your life. Wow, that's a cultural change. Sports, playing games with friends, video, card, and board games, stock op. Well, stock ops and trading. That's quite the hobby. Working out, movies, cooking. Okay. Good. Yes, this will help. This class will definitely help you figure out database and website. Again, I've been kind of like pushing the final project. You might want to consider the final project. Okay, here we got Thomas. Thomas did the same. We're going with my wife. So, wow, 13 years. Congratulations. Toby, Finder, Weston, Thatcher. So, who's got the Captain America shield? Because Cap is pretty cool. Peanut butter and chocolate are the best things. They're proof that God loves you. Like Geeky says it. Minded campaign with intention Northwest. Yes, French in a nutshell. Well, how geeky? Like, are you like quoting like Star Wars movies in like mixed company? So people like, you know, like really obscure quotes. Are you watching Book of Fett on Disney Channel? I suggest that you do. It's good. It's really good. Alan, okay. Queen Creek, Arizona, Port Hunter Beach, California, Brazil, the television. Nice. Majors. You know what? You got time to figure it out, man. You got time to figure it out. Learn databases. Databases are great. You know, there'll always be working databases because everyone needs their data. Everyone wants data. Everyone needs data. AK Ryan, so Texas, basically sixth semester. Okay, you must be done pretty soon. Okay. Technology, network, and cybersecurity. If you're going to go cybersecurity, make sure you. Awesome, very cool. Congratulations on your engagement. Snow is exciting and not dreadful. Yeah, it gets pretty exciting in Texas when it snows. Yeah, make sure you start looking at some cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a great field to get into because everyone's their data and everyone wants it secure. So, okay, Kaylee, I'm almost done here. Cool. Senior software engineer, but all major last semester at Westburg. Currently, we said to get the heck out of here. Available afternoon 4:30. My goal is to okay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Just as a notice you, Kaylee, I don't know if you know, but a lot of times if you're going to be working full time for a company, there's stipulations in your employment contract that says anything you create while there is theirs. So make sure that freelancing and consulting, if you create something new, your company has first rights to buy it. They'll buy it for $1. El Mirage, Arizona. That's kind of cool. There's Mesa, about an hour away. Courses, there's large number of projects. Okay, so again, more database. Awesome. Okay. Data logging for historical. Oh, don't get me started on historical data because that's where data science comes in. You have these databases that have like 14 years of data. They don't really need that much. All right. Well, I'm glad to be the second to last person to help you graduate. So awesome. Okay, guys, it was great meeting y'all. I'm going to put this here at the end. So starting next week in the videos, I'm going to put a questionnaire that has to go. If you put it into your weekly paper, you will get 5 points extra credit towards any assignment that you don't get perfect. So and I keep track of all that. So it's very important that like it'll say, like, for example, like I might say at the end of your paper, make sure you mention authors that I like. Or I'll say, you know, at the end of your paper, put the word Rosebud. And if it's there, you get the 5.6 credit. I do it to entice people to watch the video, and I won't do it at the end. I'll do somewhere in the video because these videos have a lot of information and they're important to watch. And I figure if I give you extra credit to do it, then that'll work for everybody. All right, friends, that wraps it up for me doing my solo show here in week 1. Keep the questions and comments coming and let me know how I can help. Thank you, and talk to you next week.